Oh my god. Bye-bye. I spent 900,000 dust building 2 Pokeball for a new squad I wanted to try out. And luckily, it was all worth it. I gained 50 points with the squad in the first 2 sets I ran with it, which was enough to push me up to expert. The team is centered around Drifblim, a Pokemon I don't really see that often anymore, but I feel like fits the meta quite well. Its main threats are like Walrein, which has been nerfed, so it's not as much of a threat anymore, and Umbreon, which is just not very common. Besides that, it has a lot of play versus everything. Even versus Pokemon like Scrafty, Obstagoon, Dark Poisons, and Steel types, which generally do kind of answer Drifblim. Drifblim still has a lot of play. Oh, and it's like the hardest counter possible to Nidoqueen, which is just awesome, because Nidoqueen is everywhere. In order to cover for those slight weaknesses though, I'm running Scrafty in the lead, because it covers very well for the Dark types and Steel types. Those first 2 are quite weak to Fairy types, especially Alolan Ninetales, so my third will have to cover for that. Talonflame and Nidoqueen will be obvious good options there, but they're a bit boring, so instead I'll be running Tentacruel. Deals with the Fairy types amazingly, and the bonus also deals quite well with Talonflame, which my first 2 also struggled a bit with. So I think it synergizes quite well with the team. Tentacruel generally runs Poison Jab, Scald, and Acid Spray, but I'm not really a huge fan of Acid Spray in the Ultra League meta currently, so I decided to go with Blizzard instead. So I can hopefully nuke some dragons that are not expecting it, and it could also come in quite useful versus like Trevenant, for example. Anyway, let's get into these battles. I'll be showcasing the 2 sets I did before hitting expert, starting with game number 1. This was crazy. I haven't seen a single Drifblim in all of Ultra League. And the first battle, I run my own Drifblim. There's one on the opposing side of the field, which is just such a wild coincidence. This trainer clearly loves their Drifblim as their best buddy, which is just great. Scrafty in the lead is kind of fine for me versus Drifblim, but it's actually not a positive matchup, especially if they shield up the first foul play. Scrafty is gonna lose this. Now I'm double debuff, the foul plays will do nothing, so instead I'm just going to switch into Drifblim to try to catch a move on the Obstagoon, but I'm not going to allow that. I'm just going to start throwing Icy Winds. Obstagoon versus Drifblim I think is a little bit more of a positive matchup for Obstagoon than it would be like for Scrafty, since they are triple resistant hexes, whereas Scrafty would only single resist it. But it is a little more squishy, so I think so at least. I think Obstagoon is just a bit more squishy, so his Icy Winds will do more damage. And the Night Slashes do less damage than Foul Play would, of course. Anyway, at this point, I'm fine with this. I'm just gonna start Icy Winding this thing as much as possible. I should even be able to survive another Night Slash here. They're now triple debuffed, so this does nothing anymore. It does absolutely nothing. I can get to another Icy Wind here. After this, they're basically in a range where one counter will knock out. So I'm just gonna snipe him with my Scrafty, counter him down, bye-bye, and hope there's something in the back. That's not too bad for Scrafty, but it's an Alolan Ninetales. That is quite bad for me. But I still have 2 shields, a fully healthy Tentacruel, so this might be alright. There is still a Drifblim on the opposing side of the field though, which Tentacruel isn't amazing against generally. However, I have Blizzard, so maybe that will be enough to turn the tide of this battle. Anyway, Drifblim comes in. Tentacruel is super tanky, so I'm actually expecting them not to bait here, since like there's a case to be made for me no shooting. So I actually shoot that up. Good shoot by me. I'm gonna no shoot the next one, even if it's Shadow Ball, that's fine. And now we're just gonna go straight for the Blizzard. They basically have no reason to shield this, because a Scald wouldn't knock out, and the only way they lose in 2 charge moves is if I Acid Spray their shield and then Scald. So they no shield, expecting just a Scald or an Acid Spray, and the Blizzard hits. We take out the Drifblim. Alolan Ninetales comes out now. This thing has a bit of farm though. I must admit I wasn't really keeping very well track of their energy during the battle. At this point I thought they were 3 away. So I'm actually gonna switch, or 4 away actually. I thought we were 4 away, so I'm actually gonna switch just to catch a move. But I knew that even if they didn't have to move, I'd be able to hex down, and we win the game right there. GG's. Walrein Lead. Walrein is definitely still around in this meta, which is of course a problem for Drifblim. But all the Walrein I saw today, with the exception of like 1, were in the lead, which is exactly why I'm leading to Scrafty to cover for the Walrein so that Drifblim can shine in the back. A Trevenant comes out though as a safe switch, which is pretty good for Scrafty. It's not like an amazing matchup, but it is pretty good for Scrafty. But it's kind of awkward because I really need to save my Scrafty for the Walrein. So I'm very glad they let the first foul play go so that I can now come in Tentacruel to farm it down. The Walrein's probably gonna come back in now. This is where I would have really liked Sludge Wave. I was really considering running Sludge Wave for a while, just for this matchup mainly. However, I feel like I like the Blizzard a lot more for potential Giratinas, which are much more common than Walrein, and Giratina would absolutely wall Tentacruel if you're not running Blizzard. So that's why I'm running it. Unfortunately, I don't think I ran into too many Giratina. There will be a Blizzard on a Giratina later. I promise. There will be a Blizzard on a Giratina, so stick around for that, but it's not gonna happen soon. Anyway, Buzzwole on the back. Drifblim is the absolute hardest counter to Buzzwole, so they concede the match. GG's. Scrafty into Trevenant. Good lead here. It's definitely where I want to see it. If they start shielding my foul plays though, this is kind of an awkward matchup as the counters are doing nothing and their seed bombs will definitely add up. This is a much more like convincing matchup than in Great League though. I see seed bombs really don't do that much. They actually catch a foul play here. Bad play by me. I shouldn't be allowing that to happen. I should really just have waited a turn to make sure they couldn't switch, but I was just being a bit lazy. At this point, I'll try to catch a Sludge Bomb on Tentacruel though. Fortunately, they do not throw, so we're gonna get crunched there, but that's fine. Tentacruel is an absolute monster, and even if they get a debuff there, I don't die to 2 crunches, so very, very safe. Gonna let this next one go through as well, and then we're gonna go for the Scald straight away, just to make sure we get rid of this Drapion. It's probably Skuntank in the back, is what I'm guessing. It's a pretty common line, which will be very tough for me, because my Drifblim basically has nowhere to go. And my Scrafty is already so low that it won't be able to counter down, even if I got a couple boosts. So, not ideal, but I'm hoping not Skuntank. And even if it's Skuntank, Drifblim has some play there, as their fast move Poison Jab really doesn't do anything. Maybe I should have shielded that expecting a Skuntank, but I kind of wanted to save shields. And it is a Skuntank in the back. It's even a Shadow, which I guess it might be a little better for Drifblim, since now 2 Icy Winds basically knock out. Gonna shield this crunch. Unfortunately, my defense drops, which is quite sad. Doesn't really help me at all. Gonna go for the Icy Wind. Drop their attack. And then I didn't even notice during the game that they got a drop, because I thought I would survive this crunch quite easily. But no, it does a ton. Yeah, because I didn't get the drop. Because they got the drop, of course. Still got this Icy Wind, which is quite lucky. Normally you die there, but I got lucky. I got my Icy Wind off. But it's not really gonna matter. They're just gonna take me out here. Actually, this is still playable. Gonna go for the foul play. Take out the Trevenant. And I have almost 2 moves on my Scrafty. I don't reach double power punch though. So I shoot a foul plate, hoping they no shield, thinking it's a power punch. And that maybe would have knocked out, but they shoot anyway, so it doesn't matter. I go down, GG's. Cresselia Lead. Now, even though I'm Dark type, it's actually quite bad. There's a Moonblast, basically one-shots me, and foul plays do nothing versus Cresselia. So I'm gonna try to catch one on my Drifblim, and I do catch one, which is huge. Also, Tentacruel is not too good either here, because Future Sight does a ton of damage. And most Cresselias these days are running Future Sight. They try to catch a Shadow Ball on their Obstagoon, but I kind of saw it coming. No Cresselia I would say in there. They always have an answer for Ghosts, so I was expecting to switch out at some point, so I was patient with throwing my move. Now we're just gonna start Icy Wind spamming. Now, my team really sucks versus Cresselia, because, like I said, they usually run Future Sight, and then my Tentacruel also just straight up loses, so I kind of want to save my Drifblim at this point. Just gonna overfarm a ton, hoping they overfarm too, and they do, so I'm free to switch into my Scrafty here. They're gonna throw a move here. They're farmed up a ton. I'm expecting just double Cross Shot to come out here, but they Hyper Beam me. Actually does nothing since they are debuffed. So my Scrafty easily survives. They actually don't. I was really expecting them to come in Cresselia here, but they come in Cobalion, which is super interesting. Cobalion loses super hard to Drifblim, so that kind of makes sense. But they also have Stone Edge to hit me, so they could have hit me with a Stone Edge. I think they just want to take the energy here and try to farm me down. And I have a bunch of energy loaded for whatever's in the back, but they are underestimating Scrafty. I'm already to a 3rd power punch. I'm already to a 4th power punch now. I had so much energy, they're gonna have to double shield this Cobalion. And I don't think they'd even be able to farm me down. So they're bringing Crest now, hoping to farm me down with that. Before I get to the foul play, but I'm ready for it. I bring in the Drifblim now. I'm gonna shield up this move. I have some energy left over, but I should be able to get to an Icy Wind before the next Moonblast. And then I should be set. I might have even been able to reach a Shadow Ball, but I didn't want to risk it. I had kind of lost track of energy again. So I just went for a safe play, go for the Icy Wind, bring him into a range where I can easily Poison Jab down with Tentacruel, and then I should be able to Scald the Cobalion to finish off this game. Yes, they know it's over, so they concede the match. GG's. Oh, Jellicent Lead. This game was crazy. Now, Jellicent is pretty good for Scrafty, so to switch out into Nidoqueen. And this is awesome. I resist all the poison moves. I do super effective with Icy Wind. I double resist. Double resist Earth Power. Unless they have Stone Edge, I win this. And I end up with a ton of energy on my Drifblim too. So that's the plan. It's the first time I'm in this matchup though. I'm not 100% sure how to play it out. Kind of want to end up with like a ton of energy, but I also want to throw my Icy Wind like immediately, because then their attack drops and I take less damage. So I end up undercharging it a bit too much, to be honest. I really wish I had hit a couple more bubbles. Because all I really want is to have like one Shadow Ball here. So if I would hit a couple more bubbles that I would have been knocked out right there, that would have been perfect. But still, I end up with a Shadow Ball right here. However, my opponent's going to do something extremely smart. They're going to switch into Jellicent right now, and their Hex destroys my Drifblim before I can get off the Shadow Ball. Very good play by my opponent there. They're not playing around. Bring in my Scrafty here, and now this matchup has kind of flipped because they got a Bubble Beam off before I got my foul play, and look at how much damage this does. Absolutely nothing. It does absolutely nothing. Scrafty is a Dark type that generally doesn't really do the Dark type role very well, to be honest, as it can still struggle versus some of his Ghost type. I should still be able to win this though, but it's not gonna be amazing. Shoot this next one. Probably gonna throw another Shadow Ball right here, I would assume, to bring me into the red. Or it's another Bubble Beam, let's see. This is another Shadow Ball, right? It's another Shadow Ball. Bring me deep into the red. I'm gonna overfarm here a bit, get as much energy as possible, foul play, and then I'm just gonna switch in my Tentacruel against whatever comes in. And in comes a Scrafty, and at this point, I thought this was really, really good for me. But I looked at the simulations later, and Scrafty is actually very fine here. Especially if you see what's gonna happen, okay? They're gonna Power Punch once, I just go for Scald. There's also a matchup where Acid Spray might help. But you know what, it's fine. If I get an attack drop, that would be ideal. No attack drop on this first Scald though, and the shield too, which is not ideal. I'm gonna shield this next move, thinking they're gonna go for foul play. But they Power Up Punch again. I go for another Scald here. They go another move. This could be a foul play. They're gonna foul play this time, right? No. I double shielded Bates. At this point, they need 5 more counters for their foul play. So I'm gonna try to catch on my Scrafty, but it doesn't happen. And now they foul play me. And now they foul play me. Oh, very well played by my opponent there. Good baits. If I just caught one of those, I would have won the game. However, I looked at the simulations later, and apparently Scrafty just straight up beats Tentacruel in the ones at least. I mean, I had 2 shields there, but in the ones at least, Scrafty actually beats Tentacruel, no matter what moveset you run. Just kind of wild. Just shows you how strong Scrafty really is. Anyway, that was the first set. It brought me up to 27-27, which means I need a 4-1 at this point to reach Expert. First game of the second set, we leaded to a Swampert, which is okay for Scrafty. This is kind of awkward for my whole team, to be honest. I would say my whole team has play. Maybe not Tentacruel as much as I got one shot by an Earthquake, but at least Scrafty and Drifblim have like a winning neutral matchup there, I'd say. Thinking at zeros, Swampert wins this because Earthquake plus Hydro will knock me out, and I get there right before I can reach a second foul play. I guess I could go for Power Punch foul play there. Actually, we CMP die then, because it's 12 for Earthquake Hydro, and it's also 12 for Power Punch foul plays. I think what I did was the play to make. In comes the Nidoqueen now. I was really considering switching into my Drifblim here, since I kind of want to save my Scrafty just in case there's like a Registeel on the back, but I decided against it because Drifblim is just such a hard counter to Nidoqueen that I really want it locked in versus it. So I just let my Scrafty go down after doing a bunch of damage versus it. In comes Trevenant against my Drift. This is fine. I can just go for an Icy Wind here, drop the attack, probably get a shield, and then bring in Tentacruel. This is super nice. Tentacruel really doesn't have to worry about any moves now. Debuffed Shadow Ball won't do anything. Actually does a decent chunk, but nothing to worry about. Nothing to worry about. And the great thing here is they think I have Acid Spray. Why would they shield an Acid Spray? Or Scald for that matter. It doesn't knock out. But Blizzard does. Bye bye. In comes the Nidoqueen now. And this game is over. They can nerf power here. Take me out. But they're never gonna be able to take out my balloons. So we're just gonna speed this up. They stay in for a little more. But they don't even really get close. Yeah, they just even no-shoot the Ice Wind knowing it's over. So GG's. Next up, Alolan Muk Lead. Oh, black screen. I closed my phone there by accident, but we got in right before the battle again, so all good. This is not really a matchup I love. We're both so dependent on like hitting the buff, or in his case, hitting the debuff. That if one of like switches out here, it's just kind of awkward. It's kind of an awkward matchup, but I do like being the Scrafty here. I kind of want to save it though. A team I've like seen kind of commonly has been Muk, Walrein, Giratina in any order. So I kind of want to save my Scrafty here just in case there's a Walrein. Do I do that? Yeah, I switch into my Tentacruel here. They don't bring in the Giratina like I was expecting though. They bring in a Trevenant. I was really expecting them to bring Giratina in if it was that team. Which would have been super fun with me, because Blizzard Tentacruel actually wins the zeros versus Giratina, so it's quite nice. Trevenant, pretty okay too though. Again, they don't expect me to have anything that can knock them out. So we hit the Blizzard. Bye-bye to the Trevenant. What comes in next? Scrafty, which is quite fine with me. Foul play will knock me out at this point. Actually, it's just fine with me. I was kind of worried, honestly, because this Scrafty will take out my Tentacruel, and Drifblim has like an okay matchup here, but not if they're able to switch out, because they have a switch now, which they can use to clear the debuff. Talking about the debuff, I actually got a Scald debuff there, which is awesome. Really, really great. They have the Power Punch to get their attack back. Farming Folly down. Bring in my Drifblim now. I call a... Actually, I didn't call anything here. I just knew they would need two foul plays to knock me out no matter what. And that, like, not even boosted foul play wouldn't do enough. Kind of expecting to foul play here, though. So, shield. Mistake, since I Power Punch baited. This seems very familiar. This seems very familiar. I really don't want to fall into the same trap again, so I'm actually gonna no-shield this. Even if it's a foul play, that's fine. I don't go down. I don't go down. It actually does nothing. I expect him to catch the Icy Wind here, so I didn't switch to my Scrafty. At that point, it was just over. So they concede the match. GG's. Scrafty Mirror Lead. Not ideal, to be honest. I don't mind this, since my Drifblim avoids this, which is kind of nice. Hoping there's something weak in the back to Drifblim, since most Scrafty Leads are kind of weak to Ghosts. Not all, but some are, since they expect Scrafty to deal with the Ghost type. They win CMP, which is not ideal, but it does allow me to have a chance to catch here, which I do try to do. They need 7 more counters for a foul play here, and I reach the Icy Wind right before that, so that's why I dare to switch this in, since they would have to use a shield if they want to get off their foul play. They catch the Ice Wind on their Drapion though, which is super fine with me. Get off the debuff early here. This is definitely not a good matchup, but I'm thinking that if I can get 2 debuffs in here and I don't get a drop, I should be able to survive 2 crunches. Is this what I'm hoping? Hopefully no drop. No drop. I got quite lucky there. That's nice. Get to another Icy Wind. Debuff the Drapion twice now. This is definitely not ideal still though. The Drapion will be able to knock me out, but if I can keep my Drifblim alive now for later, that'd be quite nice. So I'm gonna take this crunch. There's nothing. Actually, did a chunk, but for a super effective crunch, like, that's nothing. It's really nothing. Drifblim is just a monster once you start stacking up those debuffs. I'm just gonna go for the Power Punch here. I want to bring the... I know this doesn't kill, but I want to bring the Drapion low enough to where it's not gonna be able to get to a crunch later, and I bring in the Alolan Muk right here, which a wild team. Triple Dark, kind of cool. Drifblim really has no play here. Go for the foul play. I could have gone for the Power Punch there too, but in the long run, I think the foul play does more damage, since I was barely gonna be able to get off any extra counters as well, and Power Punch itself does barely any damage, so I think that was worth it. Bringing my Tentacruel versus the Muk. Shoot up the first move, which is kind of risky. It's actually very risky, because, well, if they Acid Spray there, it's a problem. But I think 99% of the time they would Dark Pulse there, so what's the better play? They actually need 2 more to knock me out at this point, so it's kind of nice for me. I get the attack drop there too. which is really nice for me. That's really nice. Because they're forced to switch out into the Drapion to clear it. Then they bring out the Muk again. I just go for another Scald. They're at another Dark Pulse right now. During the battle, I actually thought they were close to another, but recounting these poison jabs right now, they actually need a bit more. I actually brought in my Drifblim here, hoping to like catch a move, but turns out they just weren't at the move yet, which is kind of nice because I was able to farm him down, go for the Ice Beam, Icy Wind, take out the Scrafty, GG's. Swampert Lead, we've seen this before. Usually I just like to go straight foul play here. If I power a punch and they no shield and then I foul play and they shield, it's just not ideal. So I just go straight foul play, get in the consistent damage. If I go one shield down here, I win the matchup with a lot of energy to spare. So super fine with that. Super fine with that. I'm just gonna shoot up this next move. They're 12 now. This could be an Earthquake. I'm gonna shoot it up because it would knock me out. It's just a Hydro. They need like 3 or 4 more. Oh, they only need one more. They only need, oh, actually, yeah, they only need 1 more. So I catch it on Drift from here. Maybe I should have caught it on Tentacruel because it would do less damage. In general, I don't love safe switching Tentacruel though, since if it's a Red Steel on the back, I got absolutely hard walled. That's where Drifblim has more play. But in hindsight, maybe I should have there, just because the Hydro does less damage. Scrafty comes in. Definitely not ideal, but we've seen this before. Drifblim was fine here. After an Icy Wind, the foul play doesn't knock me out. And Drifblim has so much health, and these counters are only doing like 1 damage a piece because it's triple resisted. They cannot counter me down. They just cannot counter me down, and they even over farm here. So I'm able to get to another Icy Wind before their next foul play, which is just huge. Take them down deep into the red, into a range where I can farm down with either of my mons. I think I'm going to go for Scrafty though, since I don't really want to give away my third just yet. They actually bring in a Trevenant here, which is super fine. Again, I'm not baiting. I feel like my loose condition here is them no shooting a power punch. If they no shoot a foul play, it doesn't knock them out, but then I can potion jab down. And if they shoot a foul play, to shoot both foul plays, I can just Blizzard at this point. So that was the easy win condition. I'm just going to shoot up this Shadow Ball. I was expecting it to be Shadow Ball, since I don't really need to shoot there. Safe shield. Shoot it up, even if it was Seed Bomb, that would have been fine, because there's no way they reach 2 Seed Bombs, or a Seed Bomb plus 2 Shadow Balls, or even 2 Seed Bombs and a Shadow Ball, so I was fine with that. Go for the Blizzard here. Take out the Trevenant, and then we should be able to just farm down everything in the back. Blizzard really coming in clutch in some of these games. I absolutely love it. I absolutely love it. Sadly, we haven't faced any Giratina, but trust me, that's coming. That's coming. Right, the throw move here. Okay, I'm not able to farm this down, I guess, with Tentacruel, but we'll be able to farm it down with Scrafty. Easy GG. Scrafty into Tapu Fini. This is awful. Actually, it's not as bad as you might think. In the 2s, Scrafty can actually win that matchup because the counters really start adding up, or to start ramping up their power punches. But I really wasn't feeling staying in there and going 2 shields down, because it does require you to go 2 shields down. So instead of just bringing Drifblim, and I'm hoping that my Tentacruel can sweep the back line. I'm hoping for something like Talonflame in the back, and in that case, Tentacruel is just an amazing core breaker. I want as much shields for that as possible though, so let this crunch go. Bring in my Scrafty now, and I'm hoping I can farm this all the way down before 2 Sludge Bombs. If they hit another Sludge Bomb, that's not ideal. Honestly, it doesn't really matter since Scrafty is really going to do nothing against Fini anyway, but if I can keep this kind of healthy, it might be able to put in some work later, and I was able to keep it kind of healthy. I have a lot of energy now. Sadly, it's not really going to come in useful versus the Fini. Bring in Tentacruel. Finally, we got a Giratina. This is the moment for Blizzard to shine. No shoot the Dragon Claw. I go for the Blizzard. Do they know? Do they know about the winter? They do not. They let it go. And it doesn't knock them out. It's honestly disappointing damage. It's honestly disappointing damage. But like in this match, it's not gonna like flip the game, unfortunately. But in other matches, it might. Since you do win the 0s here with Blizzard Tentacruel, if we see, I'm actually gonna keep trying this team a bit. I'm really hoping to face some more Giratina, because I do think Blizzard Tentacruel can come in very clutch in some of these games. But yeah, it's not gonna come in clutch in this one, since we just got taken out now. Very sad. Because my Scrafty can't do anything. So concede the match. That's a GG. Still, we went 4-1 in this set though, which is enough to bring me to expert. Now the road to legend begins. Anyway, thanks everyone for watching. See you next one. Good luck, your Bell Stringers.